Hello everybody and welcome back to today's video. I wanted to talk to you about how the narcissist that was in your life, they performed spiritual witchcraft on you. Because of the way that you work and the grace that's upon your life, but the grace is there because you operate in your authenticity and you're not out to hurt individuals. They have tried to perform witchcraft on you, and it backfired, and it backfired because of the way that you operate. You operate in your true authenticity now. Maybe you didn't before, and that's why a lot of times things would be unprotected for you. But when you went through this betrayal, it caused a lot of hurt in your life, and that hurt and that pain, I always say hurt and pain and God are the two things that change a person. But usually you go through hurt and pain, and then you either reach out to God or you find God, or God awakens you to who he is, because God comes to get you more than you find him. On that topic, it backfired. They performed real live witchcraft on you several times, and they even went to individuals, probably, most definitely, because that's how these individuals work, most of them. I know mine did. But the stuff backfires because even when it comes to stuff like that, it even has rules to it. And that's why, if you know the Lord, a lot of times you're protected from some of these things. But you should never try to walk in grace and think that you can get away with everything, because you can't. I mean, you might as well be a narcissist Christian then, right? And the bottom line is usually the empath is out for providing fruit and putting in the hard work, being peacemakers and not trying to create havoc. But a lot of times we can get ourselves in predicaments where we get used and misused and abused. But that's because a lot of times we come out of families that were abusive, and we didn't become an abuser, but we also didn't learn to protect ourselves because we were taught and groomed to be unprotected, so that the narcissist in the family can use you as well. So when you have a wake-up call to betrayalment or betrayal in your life from somebody that you thought had your back, and then come to find out they were only in the background sowing evil deeds and seeds and stabbing you in the back and smear campaigning you and cheating on you and lying pathologically and all kinds of stuff, using you. They wanted you to lose everything. They wanted you to be completely subservient to them. And they wanted you to fail. And they really knew in the very beginning that they had you. Like I said the other day, they had you. You were a win. All they had to do was just go through their normal process of activity, and they had you. But you know, God does work in mysterious ways, and he woke you up. Why? Because you went through enough betrayal in your life. Whatever that meter had to get to for you to wake up, you got there with this last narcissist, and it woke you, it shook you awoke. And when you woke up, you started to back away. You had a lot of questions. Maybe you wanted to save the narcissist. That's what, you know, typically an empath will want to do for the first several months. They're going to save the narcissist. Then as they learn more about this, they find that you can't save anybody. And that's part of you putting your ego to death. Because our ego is kind of built on an emotional sense to where we think we can fix people. And when somebody tells you you can't, well, then you know you're gonna. So this is where the flip side of the evil ego can come out as well. This is just coming to me, it's pretty good. And so you got to be careful of that, because a lot of people go down that road and they get very heavily injured because they're trying to help people that just want to destroy them, and they continue to stick with them and pray for them and waste all of their energy on them when there's all these other things that are falling apart in their life, and you're throwing all of your jewels amongst this in the enemy's evil to fuel them. You still don't get it. It's almost like you're hard-headed to a point to where you're like a stone. I mean, you woke up from the betrayal, and I understand the first 6-8 months of you maybe having passionate love for somebody and thinking that you can fix them. I think a lot of us felt that way for a while. Even though nobody in the world has done it. But when you get a couple years out, 2, 3, 4 years out, I think I'm, more than 4 years now, and you still feel that way, and a lot of people do. I think you might want to just, recap. You're not so special, or that narcissist is not so special, or that narcissist is so special that you and them are the only ones in the world, and you're going to be the healer, the first healer to the first narcissist that needs it, out of everybody in the world system. That would make you the superb healer in all of the world system, and they would be the superb recipient to it. It's kind of ridiculous. Nobody has those types of abilities. This is what you call a systematic rule that God controls. And you can do what you want, but what's going to happen is you're going to get destroyed, and you're going to waste your whole life doing it, and you're going to end up being left out in the cold because you're still teaming up with the enemy when you think you're being compassionate and helpful and lovable. So you can take your ego down that road if you want, but it's a great thing that you're not trying to hurt individuals like, how the narcissist would operate, but you're hurting yourself and you're fueling the enemy. And so it's just important because I want to see people get healed, man. And there's a lot of people out there that you have nothing to do with their healing. It's almost like, when you have to regulate somebody else's emotions, that's not your job either. And another thing with the narcissist, because they don't have love, they don't have the fruits of spirit, they don't have their inner voice, and they gave it all away for this kind of a covenant to have power and control with the enemy over the empaths out here in this world, to put lights out of good people. Well, you got to understand what comes with the loss of love and the fruits of the spirit and their inner voice. Of course, they need outside validation now because they have no inner voice, and our inner voice is what helps regulate us, our spirit man. And we are able to talk to ourselves, with ourselves. And also, that's why they can never be alone. Because if you don't have an inner voice, you are literally alone. You are totally and completely alone. And that is scary. I wouldn't want to be alone ever either if I couldn't have my inner voice with me. And this is what happened to them. But also what comes with that is when you have no love, you can just lie to somebody bullface and look like it's real and make people believe it. So you got to be careful with that. These fools will lie to you and make it look believable. They will do things in the background and destroy individuals in the background and not even feel bad about it because they have none of the fruits of the spirit. And so you got to be careful. The more you try to help somebody evil and they don't even want it. That's the thing. A lot of times you're trying to help somebody and they may be telling you that they want it, but that's just to keep you breadcrumbed. That's like the easiest breadcrumb in the world. They don't even have to impress you. All they have to tell you is that they need your help, and you'll be willing to stay and get destroyed further. Listen, in my humble opinion, God has allowed this betrayal in your life to wake you up, and you've woken up to the betrayalment, and you're going to tell me you're still going to stay. Now that, unfortunately, is it's almost betraying your own self. I couldn't live like that. Once I woke, was it hard to leave? Yes. Did I dwell on it a lot and ruminate? Absolutely. But I also knew that it didn't matter what my emotions were telling me, because they will tell you to go back. But, it talks in the Bible about how we have to look to the Lord for our higher thinking, because our mind is still made of the flesh, and what is in cahoots with our mind is our will and our emotions. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy paths. When you lean on your own understanding and reject God's understanding, or just put your understanding over his because you know better than he does, that's kind of what you're saying. Your understanding is your mind, will, and emotions, and your flesh. So your emotions will betray you, and the enemy can get in your emotions and twist them. And he can put things in your mind, like give him benefit of the doubt. That was not from God. And I don't believe that was from our inner person either. That was witchcraft, because we all did it. And my point is they cannot read minds, but they can put stuff in your mind, and you have to cast it down and cast it out. And so I just want to give you a little bit of help on some spiritual warfare, because the other thing that you want to keep in mind is let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Everybody say amen. Love y'all. Till next time, soldier up. Peace, we out.